The internet sucks and I'm quitting social media. It's what a lot of people wish I would say, but I am just getting started. By the way, still using this tutorial and I love it. Thank you for this. If you ever update your tutorial on affordable DIY, great, we're starting off on a great note. On affordable DIY lash extensions, please post a video. Well, here we are. I'm going to be answering your what would Tyler do anonymous submissions while doing my highly requested lash tutorial. You can submit your own anonymous submission for what would Tyler do down in the description below, as well as any links to any products or things that you will see in any of my routines, tips and tricks, things like that. We're gonna be using clique today in the style. So I have the lash books in collection 02 and collection 03. This lash style right here in Icon. What would Tyler do is like the rejuvenation of Q&As. Okay, think Ask FM, if you remember what that is. Facebook TBHs, I feel like my age is showing here. Honest advice, life hacks, what would I do, what have I done? And a story time is always appreciated over here. There's nothing that can't be put on the table, okay? We're gonna have a lot of fun. I'll give you guys the whole details on how I get my lashes from this to whatever the end result is. I'm obviously going to assume that you've dealt with a man that didn't want to be with you but used you for attention and validation. Why do you think people do this? Is it that they like the idea of you or you're attractive but not relationship material? What do you think it is from experience? And I don't know if you've ever done that to men, but what was your thought process? Because obviously you wouldn't want attention from them. If they were straight up unattractive, so honestly, no sugarcoating, we'll keep it real. What made them attractive enough to give attention to you but not quite someone you would actually go after? This is a loaded question. It's like, what would Tyler do? Tyler has no fucking idea. Have I ever dealt with a man like that? A man who uses me for attention and validation? I'm sure there has been some man that I have messed with that was their reasoning. However, there's two reasons why this question's a little bit of a struggle for me. And it is because I will have the accountability and the awareness that usually that is me, but I will explain my point of view on that. And also, I feel like any man that's ever experienced me has been left with the realization that you can't find me anywhere else and you can't find me in someone else or in something else, etc. So where are my scissors? So at the end of the day, it was like, okay, maybe that was their reasoning for it, but then they fucked around and found out. So, and like once I'm gone, I'm gone. So I've never been left with a man that was like, oh yeah, you sir. No, I've been left with men who are always like, I fucked up, I miss you, I like whatever. And yeah, okay, maybe it is the attention, the validation, like whatever they're doing, I don't. And yeah, as much as we want to say like looks don't matter, looks do play a role in who you're attracted to and, you know, things like that. It's honestly really hard to answer any of these questions coming from a male brain or a male standpoint because I'm not one, but also how people treat you actually has so much less to do about you than it does about them. A lot of the times the way people will treat you has to do with things that either they're dealing with, they struggle with, they lack, they don't appreciate about themselves. See, look, I'm allergic to the bullshit. So you know what? I'm not gonna sit here and go through of like, yeah, this is why this guy did this to me and this why. I don't know. And honestly, I don't give a damn. As long as I know what I'm doing and why I'm doing that and how I feel, then that's really like all that I can do. I'm not gonna sit there and worry about why a man didn't call. I'm not gonna sit there and worry about why a man didn't text me back or why we were in a situationship for X amount of months and then boom, got into a relationship with a girl a month knowing into her. I don't care. Like I said, I'm very full aware now through others' words and actions and my own that you can't find me. You can't replace me. Some things and people are just irreplaceable. I'm one of them. This is another thing. Anytime that I've ever entertained a guy or whatever for validation or attention, I probably was at like the lowest point in my life and had zero self-love. Like when you love yourself, you don't need other people to love you. So when you're like, oh, well, what does it mean if he found me attractive and, you know, we did this or that and then, you know, he only used me for validation or attention. Okay, the man clearly needed help. You did your charity work, get it off your desk. Again, has so little to do about anything with you than it does about them. The only thing you can hold yourself accountable for is the boundaries that you did or did not have that allowed that to happen if you were aware of it. And I say that because anytime that I have ever like solely been interested in a man, let's say playfully, I made that very much aware. There's never been a time where I let a man think that we were going to be dating or that I'm introducing him to my parents if that wasn't the case. Like, people who do that, people who lie, gaslight, manipulate, yet they're gonna go to hell. Don't worry about it. Karma's a bitch and handles all. That's different. You know, if somebody's like genuinely, and again, does it not circle back to, says less about you and more about them. But yeah, sometimes people don't want, they're not looking for, I wouldn't even say maybe it was attention or validation, but just company. And sometimes you don't want the company on a relationship basis. You just want, I can think of a guy off the top of my head who I would never date, and I don't see that, I don't want that. He's attractive, he's a good time, he's fun, he's intelligent, all those things, like really great things. But no, I just like your company. And that's okay. If everybody was meant to be your husband or your wife, is that like polygamy? You would have 100 husbands and wives. Some people are just a good time. But if that's not what you're looking to be, if that's not what you want, if that's not, you know, being communicated, then you have to stand up for yourself and walk away from things that are not what you want at the same time. I know you said you need to be off camera to put the mascara bond on, but can you show how you do it once on camera? I'm so bad with lashes. First of all, I used to be really bad at lashes as well. You guys will be like, when? Whatever. I've been doing lashes since middle school. I am now turning 26 in less than a month. I promise you, you just have to practice and figure out your groove. I used to glue my eyelashes and they wouldn't be on my lash line, okay? And now I do my own chef's kiss DIY extensions at home. The next question, I'm like, I need a breather after that one, you guys. So we're gonna take our spoolie and we're just gonna brush out our eyelashes. This is actually, it's still very hard to do on camera because I'm like, when I'm doing my lashes, I'm in my mirror. Like, we are nose to glass, okay? I'm gonna try to do it like right here. So you're gonna brush out your lashes before putting the bond on. If you want your lashes to stay on, waterproof, sweat proof, they're not coming off until you use a cleansing balm to take them off, I will always recommend the Lash Linx Bond. However, that one is, you know, you have to order it on the website, get it that way. My go-to drugstore is the Mascara Bond and Seal. However, you cannot get your lashes wet and they won't last as long as they would if you use Lash Linx. But that is, we are gonna be using mascara today. I'm gonna take the bond side. I rarely use the seal side. It makes your lashes really crunchy and not like fluffy and cute. And I'm gonna put it on my waterline, but first I'm going to put it on the lash band as well. That's going to be touching my lash line. You don't need too much. You don't want clumps of glue because you do need it to semi-dry for it to get like tacky and stuff like that before you apply them. And then I just always trim the little plastic edges as well. Have you ever been interested in someone, but then when they didn't reciprocate it or move forward, you lost interest rather quickly? I know sometimes crushes, even mild ones, linger. The answer is yes. If there's no effort, I do not give a damn and I will keep it pushing. Will the crush somewhat still linger? Yes, but as long as you don't feed that crush of mine, I have another celebrity crush next week. It would be like if you had interest in a guy, but then he didn't make a move, you already friend zoned him in your mind. You would figure, yeah, if they're not serious from the jump, I'm out no matter how cute they are. Yes, that should be your standard. If you are looking for a relationship with somebody, not just company, then yes, that should be your standard. If they're not going to show you, and don't get me wrong, I love a slow burn. I love a slow burn, okay? Do you know how many people there are in this world? There's a lot. If you like some, like I don't have time for you to figure out if you don't like me, you don't like me. And if you do, you do. But if you do, you better show it. I'm about to put this on like just my base waterline. I do not brush it through my lashes because again, that's how you get like clumpy, sticky type of lashes. I want to know that you like me verbally and I want to know that you like me by your actions, and they need to match each other. They have to support each other and they have to equal each other. And that's just how that goes. That's how I run my ship. That's how I run my program. Put it right on the base. And we just let that dry for like 5-10 minutes until I kind of feel that it's a little tacky. I have a friend who missed the mark because he didn't flirt with a woman when they first connected on, I forget what app. I think it was like she added him, then some months later he added her on something else, and then a couple months go by and then he slid up and she responded positively, but he didn't keep the convo going. Well, and then months passed and she slid up, but it seemed like it was just nice polite talk at this point. Yeah, I mean, okay, so I can actually speak from experience. I have had some guy that like every time I re-download Hinge, which I don't do that anymore, I'm done with online dating. It doesn't tickle me. We will match every single time. And then obviously like throughout the years, we've added each other on social media and he will slide up on like all of my things and say the most charming, beautiful things, etc., etc. And like, it's cute, it's polite, it's nice. But am I like seeing visions from that? Am I seeing my future from that? Absolutely not. And yeah, maybe when he first added me and we first started talking, like then I would have been like, oh, this would be like a cute guy to see, you know, like if dating was possible. Now I just like, I look at it like it's cute. but also in like a friend zone way. Like I don't see anything from it. I don't feel anything from it. It's been such a long time that it's kind of just like, oh, you know. Wait, am I an asshole for that? I don't think so. I feel like that's valid. I feel like that's, it also respectfully takes me a lot to like somebody, and then it takes even more keep my interest going. I need to be intellectually stimulated, okay? If your actions and your words do not match, it's a no for me. And they have to be balanced out. Like you can't just have action, 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 but you're never verbal. At least me as like a female, like I want to hear how much you're obsessed with me. I want to hear how much you miss me. I want to hear your interest and stuff. Like to me, like that's where like passion can really be showed. Oh, you're saying this, saying that, whatever, and then you're not doing it. And then also you can't just be doing things without communicating said things. All right, I think they're tacky enough. My lashes like kind of sticking. And I do from corner out, that way that if you need to trim outwards, you know, versus if you start here and then you have too big of a piece here, it usually ends up like stabbing you in your corner eye. Oh, I need both my hands. I want you guys to know that I have never in all of my lash years ever put on a lash like that without pulling my eyelid up, but I think, guys, I think I just did that. I think I just killed that. I always pull in the corners to make sure that they're just as snug, period. I can't believe I just did that. Wait, let's see if you can go let's see if you can go 3 for 3. Just like that. Wow. I'm amazed. I have never put on lashes like that, let alone that well. And I just take my clean spoolie and I brush them and I push them. I always say it's important to have different tools. So like this Lash Linx tweezer is what I apply them with, but then I go in with this Ardell, it's like a clamping tool, different on the ends. And I go through and I'm just going to, once I know that I like how my lashes are sitting, I'm just gonna go through and clamp them in. And once I've done that, then I just go in with my eyelash curler and I'm just gonna really make sure that they're completely fused to my lash line, and also just give them another little bump up. We're not done yet on this side, but we're gonna pop over and do the same steps to the other one while answering our next submission. Shout out YSL, love you, babe. Oh, that coffee's good. Do you ever think you come off as dull or uninterested to people? I know you don't like to be vulnerable, but I always wonder that, let's say if someone asks you a question and you give a vague answer, giving one-word responses, or not continuing conversations, that kind of thing. Like you're doing it unintentionally and then you realize that it was cold. I've always wanted to be one of those nonchalant girls, the mysterious girl in the room. However, I don't shut the fuck up. I yap. And I yap and I yap. If I'm having a conversation with you, I'm interested. If I was not interested, I would politely exit out of the conversation. I'm really not somebody that's going to tolerate or give into something that I don't want to. I used to be a people pleaser and have conversations that I absolutely hated or wasn't interested in, or, you know, whatever. But no, it gets to a point, and again, 99% of what I talk about comes from a basis of so much self-love and the dedication to always making sure that I'm putting myself first in a non-selfish way, but in a selfish way. I'm never going to put myself first in a situation where I'm putting somebody beneath something though. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not a dull person, and so I don't pretend to be dull and I don't give dull. Let's say I'm out at the bar and some guy's like really trying to hit on me or really trying to, like, you know, I want to go home with you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, no. I will literally just straight up say, I'm not interested. And after I say I'm not interested, if you don't respect that I'm not interested, then yeah, I'm going to become dull and I'm going to pretend that you're not sitting right there next to me because I already politely told you I wasn't interested. If I'm not interested, I'm going to say that I'm not interested. I'm just very interested in people in general. So no, I don't intentionally come off that way, but have I come off that way to people? Probably. I don't worry about people's perception of me because I know that I always, in conversation, actions, you know, whatever, have the utmost best intentions for not only myself, but everybody around me and involved. And I'm always taking consideration other people's feelings and thoughts and stuff like that in a way that doesn't disable me and like what I need, but also doesn't enable unwanted behavior. Do you know what I mean? Like those nonchalant vibes that unintentionally make people feel like you don't want to talk or you're scared of talking. I'm never scared to talk. I will talk. You want to talk? I will talk. We can talk. I don't mind confrontation. I don't mind whatever. I'm also just not nonchalant. Like I'm so passionate just about everything in life that I feel like I have to be in like a really bad mood PMSing to come across that way. But something my stepfather taught me very young when having conversations with people is to not be like looking around the room or looking around them or behind them or whatever. Like when you're talking to somebody, you give them your eyesight focus. And I feel like when you do that, the person knows that you're interested in the conversation. And if you do otherwise, that's when when it might come across as like, okay, they're not interested in talking right now. All right, so I'm gonna put the bond now on this lash. They're on the extensions, but what are you guys thinking so far? Do you guys like this whole what would Tyler do anonymous submission? Answering your guys' questions while also, you know, giving you guys a routine that you love. I'm thinking like for each of these episodes, I will do like a routine, a hack or whatever, and you guys can comment down below what routine or products or haul or whatever it is that you guys want to see me doing. If this is your first time seeing me and you want to see me every week of your life, don't forget to subscribe and don't be scared. Like, you know, anything you're a little nervous to say, you just hop over to the anonymous submission form. But other than that, like, I want to see your comments. I want to see what you guys, I want you guys to answer these questions as well. I want you guys to chitter chatter together. Do you guys want me to do like my holy girl shaving routine? Do you guys want me to do more of my lash stuff, more details of tips and tricks? Or what do I do when I'm having a breakout? Or what do I do to get rid of acne scars? While also we're spilling the tea with each other. I mean, I don't think besties can get any more bestied out. Like, I feel like that is very much at the bottom of this anonymous submission. It says, ignore the haters, I've seen them lurking. Have you? I've not. I don't pay attention. I see them sometimes and I giggle, hee hee. Like, you know, I kiki giggle. Sometimes if it's like a really good hate comment, Uno reverse, I'm gonna make a joke out of both your comment and yourself, and now we're all gonna be laughing. That's how I feel about that. I actually really like this lash style. Wait till you guys see when I put mascara on it. We have 2 more submissions left. Do you think it's weird to slide up on someone's story after 12 a.m.? Some people say they would go for it if they were bored or know and trust that person. Some people would do it as a you up type of thing. So even if it's not flirty, is it weird or do you do it out of boredom? I think you know. Let's just be honest, you know when you're getting a you up text based off the person, your previous encounters, things like that. Like if you're messaging me, sliding up my story after 12 a.m., stuff like that, I'm also somebody like it's not gonna happen. So like even if that's what the message was for, it's not going to work. Like if you're not gonna see me at 10 a.m., if you're not gonna see me at 1 p.m., if you're not gonna see me at 5 p.m., like why would you see me past 12 a.m.? That's crazy work. That's delusional. That is, you are delusional. Have I ever sent a message, slid up on a story, whatever, past 12 a.m.? Yes. I think the intention says itself. However, do I think that that means every message and stuff that you get? No, because I am also somebody that I can be a night owl. I can be up till 3 a.m. And will I text my friends, girl or guy or whatever? Yes. Does it mean that it's a you up text? No, but it's not like I'm sending TikToks or something. I think a you up text is very much, you know, like if I'm getting a, hey, what are you doing at 1 a.m.? I'm sleeping. And I will text back and say I'm sleeping. I actually literally do that. I will literally be like, I'm sleeping. Hey. No, people are like, I'm like Lucy from Tell Me Lies with her half-face done, half-face not done. But yeah, and you could, and also too, yeah, it probably is out of boredom. And why would you want somebody who's talking to you only because they're bored? Eek. No, no, thank you. Okay, it says another thing. How do you feel? Guys, can I read? Another thing, how do you deal with only answering some people to be nice? I don't know if you've ever had someone that annoys you when they notify your message. Like, what do they want to know? So how do you do it? Well, one thing is if I don't feel like answering, it's staying in my message request. Also, if you text me and I don't want to talk, I won't answer it. I'm not ignorant in this. I feel like my answer to the other question kind of answers this one a little bit too. Bro, don't play with her. Don't play with her. I'm not somebody that's gonna disturb my peace for the peace of someone else. Do you know what I mean? Have I answered people just to be nice? Yeah, but I'm a nice person. So it's not like I'm doing it out of character. Like especially with my career and getting things like DMs and messages from people, like, yeah, I message them to be nice, but it's because I'm a nice person and I want to be nice. I don't ever message somebody. I'm not gonna be fake about it. Like I'm not gonna fake nicest. I'm not gonna fake niceness. I'm not gonna fake a response. Like I'm not gonna sit there and say something to somebody that I wouldn't actually say that to them in person. And no, not everybody is like that. And the people that aren't like that and like do just entertain to entertain, like I don't get that and I wouldn't do that to somebody. I feel like that's more in a slap in the face than it is to just not respond to somebody. My guys, this is my first time doing this lash style and why did it eat so much? The last step to getting my lashes to where I want them to be, especially like picking up on camera, being on camera, things like that, is I will go in with the YSL. They just came out with this. They're lash latex in black, and I will put it on like the tips of my lashes. But we're gonna read our last anonymous submission before getting back into your guys' little love notes. This one is about content creation. And when I read this one and I skimmed it, because I try not to read these ahead of time, but it's an honest conversation. Being a creator is hard, and I'm talking about being a creator, not just a pretty face man man or woman who stands in front of their camera to lip sync an audio. At times I get burnt out, and at times I'm on a high. But in the times of low, I know that this is exactly what I want to be doing. I've met so many great people who I now call some of my closest friends, y'all know who you are, who also provide me with the environment needed to pull through the burnout. Overall, being a creator and constantly having to turn out content is way harder than people think, but totally worth it if you're actually passionate about it. Can we just give a round of applause for this submission? Because yes, this is, honest to God, like so many truths about social media and content creation. And I'm about to go on a little bit of a tangent, so bear with me. There's a very big difference between one, being a content creator and being an influencer. A content creator is anybody who creates content online, right? So people who do lip syncing videos, people who do, you know, trending aesthetic videos, audio, sound, stuff like that. They're still a content creator. They are creating content. They sat there, they filmed it, they edited it, they thought of it, they creative planned it, whatever the case may be. But that is very different than somebody who is an influencer. An influencer is somebody who influences others with their life, with their content, with things like that. And that takes a lot of more work than just content creating. Anybody can be a content creator, but not everybody can be an influencer. And it's so crazy too. Like, I'm always somebody that I will root for anybody. Like, whenever someone's like, I've been thinking about social media, but I don't know, I always say do it, because it literally can change your life. But a misconception people have is that it takes 5 seconds, or that it's not a 9 to 5. It's so easy. You know, you get to just post videos, and you get to just, you know, go on brand trips, and you get to just get free products. Being an influencer means you are working 24/7. We don't clock in and we don't clock out. Every single day at all hours, your life, because it is what you're using to influence it, like influence others, it's your full-time job. It is a full-time job. When you work a 9 to 5, when you clock out, the business keeps running. When I clock out, when somebody who does social media full-time, in the sense, and this is for content creation too, when we clock out, the business stops running. The business is not making money, okay? It won't run without us. Anybody who runs a business on their own, you understand how much work goes into running a business by yourself. It's so exhausting, you guys, but it's very much worth it, because then we get to do all of these amazing things and stuff on social media that you wouldn't have gotten. Like, me being featured at Madison Square Garden would not have happened without social media and without the work. Me getting an interview on CBS News would not have happened without the work, without the platforms, without social media. Me being able to go to the National Attorney General's Triennial in Nashville and publicly speaking in front of all of those people who work for our country and the government would not have happened without it is very rewarding. My home is rewarding. My lifestyle is, there is really big rewards you get, but it's because there's a lot of work that goes into it. And I'm gonna give you guys an example, right? So let's say my podcast episodes, right? We film them pretty much around 2 hours. Sometimes I think the longest episode we ever filmed was, I think, 3 hours long. Let's say 30 minutes to set up, right? So that's 2.5 hours. I'm not even gonna do the max that we've ever filmed. Then I go home, upload it to my computer, my editing system, stuff like that. It takes me approximately to get that 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours, whatever, down to an hour episode. It takes me around 7 hours. Now, mind you, this is one podcast video. So now we're already at 9.5 hours. That's to edit it. Then it probably takes me an additional like 2 hours to add any overlays, text, stuff like that. So now we're at 11.5 hours for this one episode, this one piece of content. Then it takes me approximately around 5 hours-ish to cut it up, put it all into highlight clips, stuff like that, format it, add text, add titles, add captions, put it on all the different platforms, so TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. So now we're at 16.5 hours. Takes probably to get it uploaded to YouTube for visuals and then to rss.com for audio. Takes about an hour. And then it takes me approximately, probably, if you think about total each day, to, let's say I'm uploading 3 highlight videos every single day. In total, probably an hour each day. So 7 hours on top of that, totally in a week, to make sure everything's uploaded and stuff, thumbnails, all of that, answering comments. This is not even counting answering emails, pitching ourselves, signing contracts, making additional advertisement content. We're already at, without any of that, 18.5 hours for one video. And I'm not speaking for everybody else. Some people can just post that one podcast episode and it covers them financially full time. I'm not at that level yet, okay? I still have to post my personal TikToks, my personal YouTube, my personal Instagram, stuff like that. And I don't do it for the financial basis. I do it because I genuinely love to help other people with their lives with my own. And that's what influencing is. is. I'm not doing it to be monetized with content creation. I'm doing it because I genuinely love to share the things that I go through and the things that I have gone through and the knowledge that I have in any area, whether it is lashes or skincare or a broken heart or depression, to help other people. And the thing about it is you're not always going to get paid. That 18 and a half, 19 hours you just took to do all that episode might make you $0. It's not that easy when you think about it like that. And this is something you have to show up day in and day out, because like I said, when you stop, the money stops. When you stop, the job stops. When you stop, the business dies out. And it is really important to be surrounded by people, no matter what your job is, that support you when you do go through burnout, and to always remember like your whys and your passions. Like you have to remember the reasons why you do anything in life, to keep you going during those low moments. And it's so crazy because when I started in 2018, YouTube was a thing, but being like a social media influencer was not. And I remember so many people be like, look at her weird TikTok videos, like so corny, so whatever. I had 200, followers or whatever. Then I jumped to 40,000 and it was like, okay, like that's pretty cool. She's like getting free stuff and doing things like that. And now we're in a day and age, years later, where everybody wants to be an influencer. Everybody wants to do social media. And the comment went from being, oh, that's corny, that's whatever, to like, oh, you're so lucky, or oh, that must be so easy. It's so easy being an influencer, or that's not a real job. It's considered a job now. It wasn't considered a job back in like 2018, but now it's considered a job that's now not respectable. And that's not how everybody thinks about it. I think, again, people who say those things or do those things or have that perspective, it says more about them than it does about the person they're speaking on. But it's just crazy how things evolve. Lashes are finished. I actually love this lash style. This is a new one that I haven't tried. I'm gonna have them linked down below with a discount code for you guys. And then if you don't like this lash style, but you like this lash routine, or you like the other products used, I'm gonna have all that linked below for you guys. And if I forget anything, just let me know in the comments. I'll pop it right in. We don't gatekeep over here. Never have, never will. Okay, time for like my favorite part, and it is the love, feedback, and messages that you can submit at the bottom of your form. It's optional. You guys, this coffee is so good. I like don't want to put it down, but I do read all of them. Someone said, you're a star. Pose. Someone said, love you. I love you too. Someone said, a Chick-fil-A date. Yes. We're due for one. I know who that is. We're overdue for that. And then someone said, love you, mother. I love you guys. Fun fact, if you're like new here and you're like, who the hell, you have kids? I do, but I don't, okay? I have thousands of adopted children. My last name is Kidd, and so I'm mother. And I very much that's who I am. Like, I'm a very like mothering person. Not a smother. I'm not like a smother type of mother. I'm like a uplifting, I'm like a cool mom. I'm a cool mom. Someone submitted and said, I love this, which I'm so glad. This has been something I've been working on for months and finally executing it. And I just like, no matter what other project or stuff that I've been working on, I'm like, no, this is going to be like what not only fulfills me, but fulfills you guys too. And I wanted to bring something new, right? Like Q&As aren't new, but doing it like this is. And also I feel like we're in a social media era where like things aren't authentic. It's very like aesthetic based, or, everybody's so PR trained. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a damn. I don't do this to be brand safe. I don't do this to be a people pleaser. I don't whatever. So I feel like being able to give you guys that instead of like, oh, you should be like this, or I would do. Who wants that? I didn't want to give that. I just wanted to create a space where we can have fun and, we could do the story times and stuff like that, while also I get to do my favorite things, glam and skincare and yapping. Clearly. Someone said, yap, because I miss you and am beyond proud of you. You created a real and genuine platform that I can enjoy. Top tier compliment. That is literally my sole purpose with anything on social media, is to create a space and a platform just like this and just like this video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We will be doing these every Wednesday, so make sure that you check out the links down below. If you do want to submit your anonymous submission, you can find me. I'm gonna post I'm gonna do like the whole 9 whatever. You can find me on all platforms at It's Tyler Kidd, and I'll see you guys next Wednesday.